First and foremost, we want to be competitive. You know, and every team we play, we want to be able to walk. We want to be able to walk away saying that we worked hard. You know, that the chips fall where they may. We start off with the same goals. We want to make playoffs. We want to be in districts, and ultimately, we love to play in a state game. Right. You know, so these are team goals that we have. You know, and then individually, we always want to be able to say we worked hard.
Our goals are always to win the Pac-10 title. You know, getting a Final Four appearance and then ultimately bringing that Pac-10 title back to Springford is always going to be a goal for us. The kids have came up with goals, and one of their goals is to win the Pac-10 title. They want to advance to the Final Four in District 1, and they want to lead the league in foul shot percentage.
From the Strom Gymnasium at Pottstown Senior High School, the PCTV Network presents Pac-10 basketball. Tonight, the Pottstown Trojans host the Springford Rams. Good evening, everybody. This is Dick Auger along with Tom McGee. Tom, Springford continues to front run here in the Pac-10 at 6-0. They're the only undefeated team in either division.
Well, Dick, you know what? I think it's somewhat of a surprise maybe to a lot of people in the league, but talking to Coach Kurtz tonight before the game, he assured me that they realized that they were going to have a good, solid team with a lot of depth. They were going to have players that could shoot the ball from the outside. They had power players that could take it inside. They put it together. The only stumbling block was that loss to a very, very highly ranked state team in Pennsbury. Springford is on a roll, and right now it's up to the rest of the Pac-10 to catch up.
Well, the Trojans come into the game at 2-2. They find themselves in the middle of the Frontier Division, so they're still in the hunt. And also, they have a little bit of momentum coming off an away win the other night.
Beating Perkiomen Valley, who many thought would be right up there in the top echelon, Dick, of the Pac-10 teams this season, was a monumental victory on the road for Pottstown. Coach Cal Benfield mentioned to me that since that victory, the kids on the team are walking around school with their heads up high, a lot of confidence. They're well aware of the challenge they have in front of them this evening against Springford, but according to Coach Benfield, his kids are ready for that challenge.
Well, the Trojans lack depth. Springford has plenty of it, and plus they employ a full-court press, which can eventually wear down their opponent.
Right. A lot of people have not seen Springford implement the style of ball that they're playing this season. They're pushing the ball down court offensively. They're getting into various presses off their man. They're trapping out of their man. They're forcing the action, and everyone's buying in. As you mentioned, the depth factor. They could play 9 or 10 and really not lose a step. Pottstown, with some roster problems, is limited to maybe a 7 or 8 man rotation. And one thing we didn't mention, Dick, a big differential in size. Springford, very, very physical, a lot bigger, and Pottstown's going to really have to work to hold their own on the boards.
All right, still should have a very interesting game on hand here tonight, and we'll be right back with the play-by-play.
For over 50 years, O'Donnell, Weiss, and Mattei has helped our clients resolve a wide variety of legal challenges. OWM Law provides legal representation to clients throughout southeastern Pennsylvania. Our attorneys and our highly trained support staff utilize the latest technology and resources available to satisfy the needs of our clients. O'Donnell, Weiss, and Mattei, delivering the highest level of professional service.
The Mercury delivers. Online as the news breaks. To you by daybreak. The Mercury is the best source for all the local news and sports in your town. And we're working for you in the community as well. Operation Holiday. Relay for life.
For home delivery, call the Mercury, 610-970-4500.
In print, online, for you.
A good Friday night crowd on hand here at the Strom Gymnasium, and I think that's the PCT viewers' first look at that new floor here at the Strom Gymnasium.
Dick, it's absolutely gorgeous, the job they did on that. The colors, the logos, very, very professional.
Now we're going to get an introduction of players, and we'll start with the visiting Springford Rams. That's the 5'10 senior Drew Kakarika. Number 12 is a 5'9 senior. That's Ryan Cass. And somebody who plans on getting a bunch of rebounds for Springford tonight, that's 6'5 senior Nick Stanek. And another senior, a 6'3 senior, number 22, that's Gary Hopkins. And number 0, another force inside, a 6'3 senior Alex Epps Ortiz.
They have excellent size, and they're going to have a definitive size advantage over the smaller Trojans tonight, Dick.
Trojans have their work cut out for them to get rebounds tonight. And now the starting lineups for the Trojans. That's Denzel Harvey, 5'10 senior. And a senior, also a 6 foot senior, number 13, Jeremy Burton. Another senior wearing number 4 tonight is a 5'5 senior Dave Small. Brian Quill is a 6'3 junior wearing number 15. And actually that's Denzel Harvey. The first player was Rich Duvivier.
I think it's interesting in talking to Coach Matt Kurtz, who, by the way, is an assistant coach filling in for the injured, as we look at the starters there on our screen, filling in for the ill, I should say, Chris Talley tonight. So, you know, that's the factor that we have to wait to see how that pans out, because that could have an effect on how Springford comes out.
There's tonight's officials. Mike Clayton, Brian Smith, and Mike Troisi. 3
very good, experienced officials
indeed
in this Pac-10 game tonight, Dick. As I was mentioning, Coach Kurtz mentioned that he plans to come out in the 3-2 zone. Now, he did not allude to the fact that he's a little concerned maybe about Pottstown's quickness, but I think you're going to see a mix-up of defenses on both teams tonight, Dick.
Yes, the last we saw Springford, they did not employ much zone defense at all.
Again, that's what surprised me when he mentioned that. Well, we'll see. Maybe he was just trying to put me in the hot seat.
That's Hopkins and Quill tipping it off. And Duvivier gets control. Pottstown will take the first shot. It is off the mark, and Springford has their first rebound. Drive to the basket by Ryan Cass goes in.
And Dick, you're going to see uncharacteristically a Springford team that likes to push the ball. So this could be an up and down game tonight.
Springford indeed in a 3-2 zone press. That's Harvey pounding the ball out front. Trojans a little bit more patient on this possession.
Right, and what that zone is trying to do, they're trying to almost like it's a matchup zone, Dick. They're trying to prevent the penetration, especially by Denzel Harvey, toward the basket. They just want to keep Pottstown on the perimeter.
Long three-pointer rattles in. Rich Duvivier
if they
has
keep going,
first bucket for the Trojans.
If they keep going in like that, Dick, you may see Springford abandon that zone and go back to man-to-man.
Hopkins, his jumper. Nothing but net, but that's a deuce. It's a 4-3 ball game. That's a good move inside, and Brian Quill has a bucket in the paint, and it's 5-4 Trojans.
Quill did a great job of just getting in the seam of that zone in the middle. Took a nice pass and uncontested little floater.
Trojans also playing his own defense. Kakarika hesitates and gets a friendly roll here at Strom.
All good shots by both teams so far, Dick, against these zones.
Another three-pointer. This one's off the front of the rim. Offensive rebound by the Trojans. And Duvivier puts it back in. That's his second field goal.
Pottstown very opportunistic to this point going to the offensive boards. I believe that's their second offensive rebound to this point.
Kakarika dishes it off. Long rebound comes to Hopkins. Kakarika will take a three. He loves the three, and he makes many of them. He now has 5 points in this quarter.
I believe he's second in the Pottstown Mercury covering area for made three-pointers this year.
There's a drive to the hole, a nice floater by Quill.
Well, Dick, from an offensive perspective, we can't ask for a better start to this game. Both teams hitting good percentage shots.
Kakarika gets in the paint. He's got another bucket. He came to play tonight, as he now has 7 of Springford's 11 points. There's Smalls getting in the paint. He loses the handle. Quill gets back good defensively, but a nice layup by Stanek.
You know, that last turnover by Pottstown, only things bad can happen, Dick, when you leave your feet without a purpose. And he left his feet, and he had nowhere to go with it. It was a turnover, led to a field goal for the Rams.
Another jump shot from the baseline will not stay down. Springford has the ball and a 4-point advantage with 4:46 left to play in the first quarter. Pass into Stanek. He leaves it short. But there to put it back in.
That was
Ortiz.
That was our concern, Dick. Offensive, defensive rebounding. Pottstown's really going to have to work. You have to limit Springford to one shot.
There's another three-pointer that does not catch iron. Quill out on the run. He leaves it for Duvivier, and he has another field goal, and he cuts it to a 4-point lead.
Nice left-handed move there. He used his body to protect and defend, ward off the defender.
Dump it inside to Stanek. He is fouled. That's the first foul of the ball game. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And again, a nice up and under head and shoulder fake there by Stanek. And again, he drew the foul.
And the foul is on Harvey. And we've got our first substitution of the ball game as Cass exits.
Yeah, I believe we're going to see more ample substituting of players on the Rams side tonight, more so than Pottstown did. The depth factor certainly goes in the Rams' favor.
Mike Olson comes into the ball game for Coach Kurtz. 16-11, Springford. Duvivier drives in. Leaves it for Quill, and his shot is blocked by Stanek.
Good help defense that time. The zone collapsed, and they got right with it. If you watch this, a nice pass there, but now look how Springford just collapses on the ball. And nice there, block there by number 40, Stanek.
Springford staying in that zone defense. We've got an offensive foul on Duvivier.
What would happen? You drive that baseline, you're going to get weak side help, which Springford did so very effectively there. The player with the ball has got to be under control, come to a jump stop. But again, he left his feet, had nowhere to go. His momentum carried him into the defender for the offensive foul.
There's a loose ball picked up by Duvivier. Stanek gives chase. But Rich makes another field goal.
Duvivier is very active tonight on the offensive end.
He's got 9 points here in this quarter. And he's cut it to a 3-point lead. inside. The pass was intended for Epps Ortiz, but Dave Smalls gets a hand on it.
Let's see how Pottstown defends this inbounds play here. If they're going to stay zone, they're going to try to match up man. They're going to stay in the, actually, it looks like a 2-3 set on the inbounds.
And Coach Benfield makes his first substitution. And there's a long three-pointer by Kakarika.
I think he's feeling it tonight.
Apparently. Number 11, Shamir Edwards in the ball game for Pottstown. And there's an answer at the other end by Bryant Quill.
Wow, I'll say. It's a high-scoring game, 19-16, with just under 3 minutes remaining in the first period.
Kakarika gets to the baseline, makes a tough pass to complete. Quill down the boulevard. Edwards eventually runs it down. That's another three-pointer by Bryant Quill, and that three-pointer ties the ball game at 19.
Now, I thought Springford would employ that zone just for that reason. Say, well, we're going to tempt Pottstown to shoot from the outside, but so far it's backfired.
Here's a nice back door. Epps Ortiz, a little bit of contact, but he can't make the bucket. That's going to be Trojan basketball. They'll inbound beneath their own basket with 1:54 left to play in the first quarter.
That was good hustle that time by Denzel Harvey.
Cameron Phillips, the 6-foot sophomore, comes into the ball game for Springford. Nice fake. And good move to the hole by Rich Duvivier.
Well, Duvivier not only made a good move to the hole, Dick, as you just mentioned, but he hung in the air to allow the defender to fly by so he could complete the field goal.
21-19 Pottstown. Pass into Stanek. He can't make it. He was triple teamed.
Both teams are doing a good job on help defense.
Quill. Eventually Duvivier, his three-pointer hits nothing but net. A line drive three-pointer. He is on fire here in the first quarter.
Certifiably on fire as we watch here. Beautiful head and shoulder fake. He hung in the air. The great body control to finish that layup. Then he returns the next possession. Dick and nails a three.
However, he and Brian Quill are the only Trojans in the scoring column, whereas each Springford starter has scored a point.
Okay.
So the scoring a little bit more balanced for Springford.
Well, there's no question about that, and Springford's that type of team, and that's one reason that they're off to such a great start. And talking to Matt Kurtz before the game, he said they bought into to Coach Talley's. It's coming up next week. We have wrestling. Pottstown Methacton, Springford Owen-J. Roberts on the PC TV network. So stay tuned for exact times and stations. But next week on the PC TV network, high school Pac-10 wrestling at its best.
There's Matt Kurtz, the substitute head coach tonight, but he's the assistant coach. He's certainly familiar with the team and more than adequate to serve as head coach here tonight.
No question about that. And I'm sure Chris Talley is not resting very well, even though he's home trying to recuperate. I'm sure his mind is going crazy right now, worrying about how this game's going.
Kakarika has his shot blocked from behind. And again, Brian Quill gets his hand on it, but lets it skip out of bounds. Springford will inbound with just less than a minute to play in the first quarter.
Right, now you look at the score, Dick, 24-19. This is a high-scoring game at any level, the way things are right now. Two high school teams putting up numbers like this in the first period, highly unusual. But that's how good their offenses have been.
And to Stanek, he makes a nice strong turn to the bucket, and he now has 2 field goals in the game.
And that's always their first look. They want to look inside. They're like an inside-out type of team.
Duvivier, his shot is short. But Denzel Harvey picks up the loose ball, the floorboard actually, and puts it off the glass for his first bucket.
Nice little floater by Harvey. Good alert play to come up with that floorboard.
Turnover by Springford. Pottstown turns it right back over to him. Springford has 5 seconds left in this quarter. Drive to the bucket is no good, and that will end the quarter. As Tom said, a very high-scoring first quarter, and the Trojans out on top here, 26-21. We'll be right back with the second.
I want a professional heating company with heating and cooling service plans.
A company that considers my needs.
I want the security of price protection plans.
Along with 24-hour emergency service and heating oil delivery.
I want comfort.
I want Ohlert Brothers.
Ohlert Brothers, still family and still local. Ask about our America-friendly and environment-friendly agri-fuels, bioheat, and biodiesel.
When it comes to heating
and the environment,
there's only one choice.
Thanks, Ohlert Brothers.
Well, it's a 5-point game as we come back for the second quarter. And, Coach, only one foul called so far in this game.
Yeah, it's been a very clean game, Dick. And, again, the defense, is, to me, has not been as aggressive as I had anticipated, but it's certainly a great offensive game to watch to this point.
Well, you said that Springford is going to use some zone defense, and they played the zone defense that entire first quarter. We did not see the full court press that we talked about in the pregame.
No, we didn't. And I'm just wondering if they're a little leery to employ that in fear of Pottstown's quickness and speed. But we'll see. I'm sure Coach Kurtz is going to adjust because you gave up 26 points. You've got to make some adjustment.
Yeah, I agree. And there's the third team foul against the Trojans as we look at our standings.
Both John Paul and Pottsgrove both at 4-1. Pottstown again in the hunt. This is a big game for Pottstown. Dick, all these games are big. As we look at the Liberty Division standing with Springford 6-0, Methacton a game behind, Pottstown in the hunt. But they're so important. They only play 13 league games, and each division is vying for 2 playoff positions. So they're all very important.
Hopkins makes both free throws to make it a 3-point ball game. That Smalls out front.
Now you're seeing,
nice pass inside to Duvivier, but he can't make it. That's a nice look inside.
And you saw Springford extend their defense, look to trap a little bit out of that 3-2 zone.
We've got a 3-second violation against Springford.
I'm anxious to see if Springford maintains this extended zone or man-to-man, so to speak. We'll have to see. Right now, it looks like it's a man-to-man, straight.